Okay, so the general conversation questions are a really important part of your studies, but I know that they're also a bit that many of you struggle with. The general conversation questions form 50% of the speaking exam. They're also a really good way of checking how confident you are with the module material for each module, and of course, as the name suggests, they're the type of questions that you might actually get asked in conversation with a Spanish speaker. So the questions can be found in two places, three if you count the physical textbooks, and hopefully neither of these two things are new to you, but I'm going to go through it just in case. So one of the ways of finding the general conversation questions is to log into ActiveLearn, to click on Library, and then Books, and then to open up the higher tier textbook, where you'll find them on page 198. The second way of finding the general conversation questions is to log into Portico through the school website. Same password and login as you would use on any computer in school, to then go to the shared documents, click on MFL, and then GCSE Spanish, revision and exam prep, and then scroll down until you find the Word document entitled GC questions. Okay, so once you found the questions, step one is working out what the questions mean. Now, in an ideal world, you studied the module and you will know what all of the questions mean anyway. However, in reality, there's probably going to be at least one or two that you struggle with. So, things to think about. What is the question word asking you? So, for example, como is most often translated to what is such and such like. So in this case, what is your school like? Okay, most normally what. So think about the question words, and then think about any cognates, and use the module vocabulary, which we'll come to in a bit, to work out exactly what it is that the questions are asking you. If you absolutely have to, then you can use an online translator to translate from Spanish to English. Okay, remember that translating from a language that you don't know into one that you do know works because your knowledge of English is good enough to work out any strange things. So for example, if como es tu instituto came up as how is your school, then you would get the gist. Translating the other way around doesn't work because you don't know enough of Spanish, so the word order comes out wrong, or you end up with the wrong options for different words. I would recommend, if you're going to use a translator, that you use Spanish Dict, as it has three options. It also has a little function enabling you to work out how to get the most accurate translation. You'll see I've circled the Learn How at the bottom. Okay, so once you've worked out what the questions mean, and I would suggest that you also work out which time frame each one of them is in, whether it's past, present or future time frame, I would suggest that you then have a look at where to find help to write the best answers that you possibly can. Again, there's two places where you can look for help. Three, of course, if you include your own exercise book, which is hopefully a wonderful tool for revision and for help for you. The first one I would suggest is probably the best place to start, and that's the end of year revision PowerPoints. Now, these are in the same area as of the shared area as where you found the general conversation questions. So GCSE Spanish, revision and exam prep. If you are writing answers to modules 1 to 3, then you'll find some models on the end of year revision 9 PowerPoint, modules 4 to 6 end of year revision 10, and modules 7 and 8 end of year revision 11. Okay, so if you click on those PowerPoints, you'll find that a few slides down there are some models of what language looks like at the different levels that the exam board grades them at. So you've got basic, variety and complex. You'll also find that they're split into past, present and future time frames, which is why I would suggest it's a good idea for you to know which time frame each question is asking you to write in. Sticking in that same area, another place where you can find help is the GCSE Spanish vocabulary folder. So you will be able to open up Word documents for each of the modules. Alternatively, you can find those same words and phrases at the end of each module in the online book. Okay, so actually writing your answers. The first thing you need to do is find a model. So I'm looking at the question, ¿Qué es lo bueno o lo malo de tu insti? What is good and bad about your school? And I have found a model on the end of year 9, module 2, PowerPoint. So the model, which you can see at the top of the page, gives you a set answer. Okay, so first thing to do is to identify good sentence structures that should be kept. These are going to be highly transferable phrases, quite possibly the start, linking words, that type of thing. So you'll see in my answer that I have started with lo bueno de mi colegio and kept the otros alumnos. I have decided that many of you probably won't include the teachers in the good thing about your school, so I've taken that bit out. Okay. Then I've thought about what you might want to change in order to make it true for you, and I've put in a bit about extracurricular activities, which are found in another model. Which you can see underneath, underlined, and I've taken some bits from there. For the bad points, I've added some phrases that I think many of you might know. So, in my opinion, as I've already said, como he dicho, and I've also taken bits I've pieced together from other models, which again I've underlined where I've taken it from below. I haven't, in this point, used anything from the module vocabulary, but we'll come on to that next. So here I've used bits from the module vocabulary to make it a little bit more individual, not just taking things from the model, which many of you may want to do, or here is where you could use expressions that you've already got in your book. From previous bits of writing or speaking. So you will see the module vocabulary in the middle there, and at the bottom the phrases in purple that I've swapped out to include those items from the module vocabulary. Finally, once you've written your answers, you'll want to think about how you know whether your answer is as good an answer as it can be for a first draft. And these are some of the ways you can do that. First things is to check that it actually answers the question you are being asked. Okay, so especially when there's two parts, as there is with this question, have I answered both the good and the bad about my school? Yes, I have. Okay, have you made use of highly transferable phrases to increase accuracy? So if we look down to the answer here, we can see things like lo bueno de, the good thing. We've used tengo muchos amigos, I have many friends, para mí. All of those things are highly transferable phrases that you could use to talk about a range of different topics. Have you used sequences and connectives to make your meaning clear? So again, having a look through, we've got también also, we've got para mí, which we've already talked about, for me, we've got a break with lo malo to be clear that we're moving on to something else, and so yeah, I think that's pretty clear. Is it 3 phrases long, but not so long that you forget what you're saying? It's definitely 3 phrases long. Some of you might find this answer a little bit longer, so you could shorten it, of course. Okay, you could just say lo bueno de mi colegio es los otros alumnos, tengo muchos amigos, y lo malo, en mi opinión, es el uniforme, como he dicho, es super feo. And that would be 3 phrases long, but a little bit easier to remember. And have you added variety with exclamations, rhetorical questions, and opinions? So again, let's scan through this answer. We have got a rhetorical question. Lo malo? We haven't got any exclamations, but we don't have to have everything in every answer, so that's fine. Opinions, yes, para mí, en mi opinión. Some interesting adjectives, we haven't just used feo, we've used super feo, and some fairly high level vocabulary with ropa de calle, which literally means clothes of the streets, or what we'd call home clothes. So, hopefully that's a useful guide to how to write a good general conversation answer.